you have one of 32 jobs in the world, which is very cool. But I imagine the last 10 games have been a lot more fun.
It's funny that you say it like that because a lot of my buddies are kind of saying the same thing. And what I say is, yes, I've got the best job. This is a dream job for me. And kind of knowing with the transparency of the front office what the last 3 years have been, I get excited every night because you just never know what you're going to see. But yeah, the last 10 have been fun because you're starting to see these young kids learn how to win games. It's hard to win in the NBA when you're young, especially when you've got 10 kids, 22 years or younger. But it's fun to watch Bilal develop. Alex has taken a massive step. And what Trey Johnson has done the last couple of games, shooting from 30 feet and beyond, I mean, he's like our version of Steph Curry, right? It's just so fun to watch. And the kid expects that he's going to make those shots. I think he's 50% from 30 feet and beyond. And so, yeah, it's fun every night because you just never know what you're going to see.
Now, listening to you all call a game, I can hear the excitement in you, too. What's been the biggest improvement you've seen amongst these guys as you see them try to grow and learn how to win in this league?
I think it's just kind of learning how to navigate, close games. That's kind of been fun. Both Milwaukee games where C.J. McCollum closes the show with a jumper to win. There have been fun games. Even when they kind of lose these tough games, how do they figure it out? Yeah. I mentioned Alex Sarr. I think he has been really fun to watch. This is a guy that's uniquely skilled, being a 7-footer that can shoot threes, but he's taking less threes this year because he understands the value of what he can do in the paint. His defense is elite in terms of rim protection. I think he's in the 93 or 95 percentile in rim protection. Keyshawn George, I remember in the summer seeing him in the summer league, and I made a note in a notation that, man, he's taken a step already. And you see what he did in the summer, what he did for the Canadian team in the AmeriCup, and then he just transferred that into this season. He's a Swiss Army knife, and that's no pun intended, him being from Switzerland. That kid can do really anything on the floor. And it's just watching these kids kind of growing and kind of putting it together. And I want to give a lot of credit, too, to Brian Keefe. He is very consistent in his messaging, very consistent in his approach, and not afraid to call guys out. But he also praises them when they do things well. So that's kind of been the biggest thing for me this season, watching this young team try to grow.
Chris, we talk a lot about the young guys, and we understand this little rebuilding plan and all that. But you mentioned C.J. McCullough and the way he's been playing. I saw a couple of things where he goes the extra mile to basically educate these young dudes about the NBA and the things they need to do. How important has he been to a lot of the growth of these guys?
Being an OG, 34 years old, been in this league a long time. He's seen it. He's done it all, really. I think he is terrific in the locker room. And, sometimes when you bring vets in, you try to teach a group of kids like this, you can kind of get set in your ways. But I think how CJ goes about his work is not only is he telling the guys what to do, but he's out here on the floor. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to be an old vet and you kind of grizzle, all the great restaurants on the road, but that's all you bring to the team. CJ is actually a guy that is out there competing every night, leads the team in three-point shooting in terms of makes, and he's closed some games, as I said before, those 2 Milwaukee games. So he's still playing, I think, at a really high level, and I think that makes it easier when you talk because you're out there competing with the young players every night.
Talking with our friend Chris Miller here on the Rude Guest Hotline. Rude makes the most reliable HVAC products in the DMV. You can give Chris a follow at CMillsPXP. I wanted to circle back to something you said about Brian Keefe, Chris, because I have really liked him since he took over. And I think everybody involved understands the direction of the Wiz, right? This is a multi-year thing. They're trying to build this thing up. Obviously, Oklahoma City is an example of what you're trying to do. I've been really, just because I have a good buddy, my boy Tarek's a big Pistons fan. Like I've been kind of following this Pistons rebuild, and that looks like what you're trying to do if you're the Wiz. So everybody understands the mission, right? But for the head coach, still, it's hard to lose. How much does it say about Keefe that he's able to stay on message and stay positive, even knowing the task in front of him and balancing all of that. Because to me, that's pretty admirable.
The work is the work. And what I mean by that is he's consistent in the work. Are we getting better? Are we 1% better today? I know it's cliche, but he lives this. Like, I see this guy every day. He's consistent. He doesn't waver. He doesn't have like a bad day where he snaps, or he has this great day where he's overjoyed. I mean, he kind of keeps it medium.
Yeah. Jim's on, huh?
Old Jim's on right there, right? He's just very consistent. And I think players kind of gravitate to a guy like that where you know what you're going to get from him every day. Brian, you know this as a professional athlete. Those dudes that were great were the ones that were very consistent in how they practice, how they perform. Everything led to 7 o'clock, right? Brian Keefe, everything he does leads to 7 o'clock. Are we prepared? Is the X's and O's down? Do we know what we need to do to develop? And I want to give the front office some credit also. Every 10 games, they kind of check in with these athletes to let them know what they're doing well, what they need to work on. So there's no guessing, I think, with this organization. Like, you're going to know where you stand every day. And when they tap in with you, they're trying to make you better. They're trying to get you developed because, as JP, you said, I think we all know what the bigger picture is. Mm-hmm. And, the other day I was talking to a buddy about just the Wizards draft capital, like what they have right now. The trade deadline is about a month away. And they've done such a really good job of having this war chest of picks, and not only having about, I think, $80 million in cap space to spend this summer, but you're also every night getting to watch, all these young kids that they've already drafted. You think of Bilal, you think of the 2024 class with Keyshawn, Alex, Bub. I'm sorry, I didn't even mention Bub Carrington. Bub has been really good. He struggled early in this second year, but he is starting to really pick it up and find his niche. And then you think about what Trey Johnson is bringing to the table in terms of his three-point shooting. So I think the organization has kind of hit everything you need to kind of build something that's sustainable. You've got a war chest of draft picks. You're developing your young players, and you're going to have tons of cap space to go out and get some free agents.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the trade deadline is what, a couple weeks away?
I think we're about a month away.
Okay. It'd be really fascinating to watch what they do there. And I think what I said, so B and I did a thing where we were making predictions for 2026. And I don't mean the 25-26 season, but when I look ahead to the 26-27 Wiz season, I just want to see them fighting in that play-in range. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the play-in tournament at the end of the year, and I feel like that's a trajectory where you just need if one of these dudes that we're all really high on, whether it's Keyshawn or Sar or Trey, like one dude takes that next step where you go from a B+ to an A-, whatever that is, that's when you can really start to see the growth. But I did want to circle back to Trey, because you talked about the long threes and everything he's been able to get done. How exciting is it to see? I mean, I feel like he's got the most green light range-wise since Gil was playing here, right? And that was a different era.
Court.
Yeah, you guys will laugh. So the last game we were in Minnesota, I think that was New Year's Eve. Listen, with this schedule, sometimes I don't even know what city I'm in, so you bear with me. But we were in Milwaukee, and it was shoot around, and we were already charting, these three-point shots from distance. And I think at the time he was 6 of 12 from 30 feet and beyond. So I had to ask him. I was like, Trey, come here. And he came over. This is after shoot around. I said, what is your range in terms of a jump shot? Not a heave. I'm not talking about a heave. I'm talking about actual pull-up jump shot. And without hesitation, with no changing of his expression, he looked at Drew and I and he said, half court. And it was so deadpan how he said it. It was like he was like, "How dare you ask me?"
Like how?
And
now
as soon
what?
as I get into the gym, that's my range. And Drew and I just kind of looked at each other and just laughed. It's like he's 19, but he's serious. So he's not silly. But the way he said it was as if like I asked him, "Can you really shoot threes?" That's how it felt to me. The way he kind of reacted to me. So that was really cool to see how he was like, "Nah, man, half court, I can pull." And I'm with you. I think he's got like the green light special, man. As soon as he crosses half court, let it fly. You know, there was one guy, I think it was after the Milwaukee game. He kind of did this sidestep three to kind of relocate from the defender. And I'm watching him, and I can also see our bench. And when he shot it, it didn't even go in yet. He ran the other way, and you should have seen the reaction of his teammates on the bench. They knew it was good even before it went in, and it was all net. So I think we have a very special shooter in Trey Johnson, and the range is kind of ridiculous. And, yeah, we got our own version of like Steph Curry, man, when it comes to stuff like that.
You know what that is,
cool.
though? I always say people have to do something before they do it. We had Jeff. Jeff was running a 5K, and I asked him the other day, I said, have you ever ran 3 miles? He's like, no. I said, okay, then, well, you're not going to do it in the time you think because he hadn't done it before. But Trey, just like Steph, you watch Steph even in commercials, he take the same shot all the time. So if you take the same shot all the time, when you let it go, you know it's going in.
Right.
So he's done it.
In how he shoots.
Yeah.
Every shot looks the same, and I'm getting to the point now where even if he's being contested, I feel like it's going in. He's one of those shooters where you feel like every time he takes that shot, you're like, okay, put 3 on the board. You know, there's some guys in the league when they shoot corner threes, I say layup. And when I say layup, that means you know it's going to go in as soon as it's automatic. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard for me, Chris, last question. It's hard for me to keep track with all of the various dances you do on your Instagram. But I was curious. Did I see a Carolina Panthers celebration there? How fired up are you for the Keep Pounding crew to be back in the playoffs?
Okay, full disclosure. I got to tell you this, and you guys are going to get mad at me. I apologize. I was off the Panthers this year. Matter of fact, I've been off the Panthers like the last couple of years. I've just been frustrated. I've been a diehard since '95, since they came into the NFL. So I was like, man, I'm off these dudes. So much so that Wes Hall, Daryl Johnson, you guys know Daryl, and Rich Wolf, my producer, they've been on my behind all year about, are you still not riding with the Panthers? I'm like, nah, I'm done.
So we support them. We support DJ and Rich Wolf and Wes Hall for giving you grief about that.
So they've been on my behind all year about it. Don't you know, as soon as the Panthers clinched, I'm like, oh, we back, baby. We back. Keep pounding. Keep pounding. So, listen, you lose the last game of the regular season, and then you still need some help the very next day to get into the playoffs. Man, we are backdooring our way. I said we're backdooring our way into the playoffs. Bring on the Rams. I'm back, baby. Keep pounding.
I love it. I mean, if I recall correctly, your NFL options, because you're not a fan of the local 53, weren't the Browns part of your collective? Didn't you have some love for the Browns? If you got to pick Browns or Panthers, it's Panthers all the way.
I worked in Cleveland for 6 years. I covered the Ravens for 4. So I've covered the NFL for 10 years. So I understand Browns fans. I do. I really understand it. My son Donovan is a diehard Browns fan. He was born in Cleveland. I really respect the Ravens, just the way that they do their business. I got a chance to cover their second Super Bowl and doing the pre- and post-game show. But, yeah, if you had to ask me if I had to root for one team, I got to ride with my Panthers. Keep pounding, baby. We back.
All right. Hey, C-Man, what was that week in New Orleans like for the Super Bowl with BMitch? I can only imagine what that was like. And Brad Jackson? Good God.
I was nice.
So, listen, there's going to be once I'm done, when I retire, I have to retire because when these stories come out, they might fire me. There'll be a book that I will be able to kind of detail some of the road trips that I've been on with some of these guys. But New Orleans was a movie. I'll just say that.
I can only imagine.
I can't remember none of you talking about.
Exactly. That's why it's a movie, because everybody forgot about it.
Chris, thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
We'll be watching tonight. Wiz versus the Magic.
Man, appreciate you guys again. Happy New Year, man. Great seeing you. And JP, I hope you said you're coming to the Pelicans game.
Yeah, I'll be there Friday, dude. I'll track you down and say
and he
hello.
wants to do a TikTok dance with you.
I got you. Say less.